Hello and welcome to this week's episode. We are carrying on from last week's episode in Paris and heading over to Luxembourg, which is only about a 2 or 3 hour train journey away. Very comfortable. And towards the end of this podcast episode, you're going to see a bit of a day trip to Liechtenstein as well. Let's get stuck in. Hello and welcome to the Winging It Travel Podcast YouTube channel. Join me on my journey as I travel across the world, seeking out adventures, meeting new people, and trying out new things. Straight off the bat, transport in Luxembourg is free, so that includes buses and trains, so you can get into there, plan your route, and not pay a penny. So we made our way to Dommeldange train station to our hostel. Now, Dommeldange train station is to the north of Luxembourg City, and our hostel is called Hostellerie de Groenewald. It costs 126 Canadian dollars for one night, so on the fairly expensive side, but this is not a hostel, this is a hotel, and it had an unbelievable bathroom, double bed, and a working station within the room. There's a restaurant downstairs, which looks quite trendy and expensive. And all in all, what a find this was. We arrived about midday, so we dropped our bags off and headed straight into the city of Luxembourg to check out the main palace and the views of all the old buildings. Amongst their expensive shops and trendy cafes, there's a fantastic walk you can do in town, which hugs the river, and you can walk around to the old town. My first impressions of Luxembourg were awesome. Love the old buildings, very chilled vibe, not many people, and it just looks so pretty. The quintessential Central Europe city and country. I already loved the vibe of the city and I love all the buildings. I just love walking around random streets and checking it all out. But it's time for coffee, as we both needed a boost to go and check out the next site in Luxembourg. The best part of the afternoon was the panoramic lift, which goes up 60 metres into the air to give you a 360 degrees view of the whole of the old town. And it is free. Absolutely magical. So this is free in Luxembourg and we're going to go up this. Check this. Ooh. Panoramic views of Luxembourg. Let's go. We were quite tired at the end of the day, went back to the hotel to chill out and hopefully get some sleep, but also plan our next day in Luxembourg. The next day we are up and about early and headed across the road to Boulangerie Patisserie Marquez Joachim and tucked into a coffee and croissant for €4.20 each. It was bloody awesome. Then we headed on the free transport up to a place called Vianden, which is in the north of the country, and it's a bus and a train away. An old school train station, as you can see here, and the bus ride to Vianden was about an hour and a half via the windy roads in the countryside. After an hour and a half train and bus, we arrived in a town called Vianden in Luxembourg, And check this out. It's like walking back in time. Look at these buildings. Get better further out here. Look at that. We're kind of on the border of Germany. So it's got that German castle feel. And there's a huge castle to go and check out at the top of the hill. But first, there's coffee. And then checking out this little town. Love it. Yeah, look at that. Walk down there. Little chateau. This car keeps coming up and down all the time. Lovely. Vianden has a 3rd century castle on top of a hill, and it's very historic for the country and overlooks the old town and the new town of Vianden itself. Victor Hugo was held up here once upon a time, and I think that influenced a lot of Portuguese to live in the country of Luxembourg. This town is on the border of Germany, and it's like walking back in time with the classic old Germanic buildings. The castle costs €10 to enter. I would highly recommend the €2 for the audio guide. Unfortunately, the site was filled with kids who were noisy and distracting, but we cracked on seeing the whole building. Can't not love a castle, but once you're up there you do really appreciate the great views of this historic place, and they're pretty awesome. And the tour itself took around 1.5 to 2 hours. After that, we were pretty knackered and needed a bit of lunch, so we headed back down to the town and walked along the river to sit by the river and admire the views before catching our bus back to the city of Luxembourg. Next up is Liechtenstein. Now this was approached from Switzerland as we stayed in Lucerne, and we had to get the train to Sargans and then catch a bus to Liechtenstein, and it went fairly smoothly. We had a delayed train, but we stayed in Zurich a bit longer and caught a later train to Sargans, but we put our luggage in the lockers at the station for 8 francs, and then the bus cost 8 francs each way to Vaduz, the capital of Liechtenstein. Smooth ride, and got off at the Vaduz post stop. Our prediction was it's going to take about 3 to 4 hours to see all we want to see in Vaduz. The castle was out of bounds because it's getting renovated, so you couldn't actually go and visit. First off, we saw the Parliament building. As you can see here, very historic and has lots of flags. Then we walked over to the Old Bridge over the Rhine, which straddled a river between Switzerland and Liechtenstein. Let's hear more. We arrived in Liechtenstein today, and we're now on the Old Rhine Bridge, which crosses from Liechtenstein to Switzerland, and we're now walking to Switzerland. So we're heading that way to Switzerland, and as you can see, the sign up here, we're just about to leave Liechtenstein into Switzerland. over here. Really old bridge, crosses the river. On a nice day, that's a fantastic walk along the river. We had a lovely walk along the river, which was quite windy, but a very nice day, a bit chilly as well. And you can see the royal family's castle at the top of the hill to the right. And then by chance, we managed to walk past Luxembourg's national football stadium. And after a nice walk, we stopped off at a cafe called 44 Im Hof. Let's hear more about this. The royal family's castle is literally up there, and we arrived at this cafe, 44 Cafe Im Hof. Looks fairly trendy. It's just around the corner there. So let's go and check it out. Get off at Vaduz Post and you'll find this cafe just sat behind, near where the museum is behind us. And we arrived today pretty much around midday, fairly busy. Vibe I'm going for straight away is probably business-like, maybe the odd tourist. There's quite a few guys in suits, and also there's quite a few people just having their coffee on their own, probably on a break from work. Don't see anyone really our age or younger, so maybe professional setting. So coffee, let's get to that. Americano will cost you around 4 Swiss francs, which is equivalent to €4, give or take a few cents. Looks fairly strong. So it comes in a nice little cup. Look at that. Fantastic. Looks fairly dark. I'm expecting a strong taste. Let's give it a go. It's not actually that strong. I think it's definitely on the higher end of medium, but not impossible for me to drink because I would have to take sugar if it's too strong. You do get a little chocolate with it, a little coconut covered chocolate. Decent. These guys are open from 8 till 5, Monday to Friday. Closed on the weekends, super trendy. We decided to finish the day in Vaduz at the National Museum, which costs €10. And to my pleasant surprise, there was a fantastic FIFA World Cup exhibition in there. Could have spent hours in there, but probably spent about half an hour to 45 minutes walking around, reading the exhibition, and I was the only one in there. They're showing replays of all the goals from the previous World Cups and information about all the greatest players. What an exhibition that was. And after one more walk around Vaduz, very small, we hopped back on the bus to the town of Sargans to collect our bags and get on the train to Kerr for the Bernina Express the next day. To summarise, Luxembourg was a bit of a surprise. Free transport makes that awesome straight away, which means you get to anywhere in the country by train or bus without a problem. Love the quietness, the calmness, the historic old buildings, and learnt something new about a country I didn't know much about before visiting. As with Liechtenstein, equally the same, even smaller. Can definitely spend a day there, especially a whole day if you can get to the castle up on top of the hill. That would be worth visiting. And Vaduz is very, very small, just one road through the middle. Nice walks around it. Super pleasant and easy to get to from Switzerland. Thanks for tuning in, and next time we carry on the theme of Central Europe. See you then. Please follow and subscribe on my YouTube channel today, and please rate and review the podcast on any podcast platform that you use. Thank you.